I was like, okay, well, that is what it is. Haven't been upset about any of this yet. Understand, I haven't had a single sad day from the very beginning. I've always looked at it, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm not going to get mad about any of it. 8 days after I got diagnosed, I started a charity called Dying Defiantly. 8 days after, because I wanted to make a difference. I've always looked at it, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm not going to get mad about any of it. 8 days after I got diagnosed, I started a charity called Dying Defiantly. 8 days after, because I wanted to make a difference. And it was, started out as, more ideas and getting things in place and started like that as I'm going through all this process. So they come back to me after this liver transplant debacle and say, I'm like, what's our plan now? And they're like, well, you're in such phenomenal shape, because I'm a beast at the time. And they said, we're going to put you on the 5 strongest chemo drugs that we have. And we're going to maximum dosage them. And we're going to go after this and we're going to attack the cancer. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Let's do it. If we didn't do this, this is what you have for time.
Okay.
So 9 to 12 months at the time. So here we are looking at 9 to 12 months. Well, we start the chemo, 4.5 hours of infusion, sitting there, pumping this Folfox, Synagis, all these different drugs into you, just cisplatin. I can't even remember every name of all the drugs that they were pumping into me. And I remember going home that week and going, okay, that wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. 3 days later, I'm like, okay. I feel a little sick in my stomach, but yeah, I'm all right. Right? Got this. We got this. 7th day comes. I'm getting ready to go in for my, so we're doing the infusions every week. Get ready to do a second infusion. I'm laying on my bed at home, and my girl looks at me and she goes, oh, baby. I go, what? And she reaches behind my head and she just picks up a clump of hair that's just falling out on my pillow. And I'm like, now, I've always had gray hair, right? Throughout my whole life, I had gray hair. And to me, it was like Samson losing his hair. And it was like, oh my God. So I went into the whole baseball cap mode, right? I was always in a baseball cap, and because my hair was gone in a matter of 14 days. Gone. Like all gone. It was just little fuzz. And then when it came back curly and weird and not the same. And I'm like, this is not cool, right? This is not what I was expecting, but it took a while to come back because, and I was sick. Chemo was making me sick probably 10 to 14 days out of the month. Mm-hmm. But I was still fighting through it. I was doing bioidentical hormones, testosterone implants to help combat the negative effects of what chemo would do to you. And so this is going on all throughout the fall of 21, coming into December. I end up, beginning in December, sick as a dog. 104 plus temperature, go into the hospital. I've got multiple bacterial infections. I think at that time it was 7 bacterial infections going on in my liver. Because now, right now they're doing stents to keep my bile ducts open. At that time, they were doing every 10 weeks. And they had done a radioablation during one of those times. And that's where they burn the inside of the bile ducts to give them more space. So when it happens, there's debris that's left behind. And a lot of times that debris will clog the bile ducts. Now, a duct isn't this little tiny thing. It is a long, 6 to 8 centimeter, sometimes 9 centimeters in length that has been put into a bile duct to keep it open and flowing. Well, I had to go in, have emergency surgery during December to replace those stents because they had occluded. Okay, they had actually blocked again. That had caused the bacterial infections to take off in my liver. So here we are, a couple days before Christmas of 21. I'm in the hospital at the VA hospital in Indianapolis at Ruta Bush. And they come in, they talk to me, and they said, cancer's progressed pretty rapidly on the right side. We need to look at radiation. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm trusting in my doctors that they have the best plan for me.
Right.
And I said, I got to get out of here before Christmas, though. I'm not going to spend Christmas in the hospital. And they're like, Marshall, it's 3 days away. I'm like, look, I can either walk out of here or you can let me out of here. So they did everything they could. They got me home for the holiday. And I come back in, did a scan late December, and sit down with my doctor, and she goes, I just want to tell you, based on your progression, now this is January 8th, she goes, 6 months at best.
Wow.
She goes, you have 6 months at best. Get your things in order. And I said, is that the way it's going to be? She's like, Marshall, chemo's just maintenance now. Radiation may help a little bit, slow it. She goes, but based on the current rate of travel that the cancer's growing at, you have 6 months at best. So in my mindset, that meant July 8th became my deadline. July 8th, 2022 became my official expiration date in my head. I had to have everything in order by that point. Everything that I was doing, I wanted to do, I had to get done before that point. So, talk to my daughter, begs me to continue doing the chemo to extend my life. They thought that maybe it could extend. So I do. Start radiation in February of 2022. Radiation oncology, I go in there, and I brought, because they're doing it on my liver, right? So I brought in this, some people have a Mr. Potato Head. I brought a little onion with me, right, as my support onion. And they're like, why are you bringing an onion in here? And I'm like, what, liver and onions? If you're going to cook my liver, you might as well, So they were like, you're not even right, Marshall. And I'll be in there and I'd be like, hey, can we get some butter smells in here? It'd be a heck of a lot nicer if we had some butter smells in here. And they're like, will you just shut up and just be quiet for the next 15 minutes while we do this? And everybody's starting to get to know me at the hospital, right? Because I'm upbeat and I'm laughing and I'm having fun with all this treatment, even though I'm looking at an expiration date now of July 8th. And I'm like, okay. So I continue doing this. Radiation is highly effective. Matter of fact, after my radiation finished at the end of February, beginning of March, they come back to me and say, hey, amazing news. The cancer that had progressed on the right side is no longer visible signs there. So, it's maintenance, but it had stopped, it had killed off some of the cancer cells as well as some of the good cells because it kills good and bad. So you can only do this so often because you have to let the good cells regenerate. So I was like, well, can we get into the main tumor? They're like, no, we can never do the main tumor. I go, why? Well, because of the vascular interference. And we believe that the vascular walls may have already been compromised, and that tumor is the only thing holding that vein together. So we believe in some ways that the cancer is actually saving your life right now, because if that vascular wall does separate from that tumor, then you're just going to go to sleep. You're going to bleed out internally and go to sleep. So I was like, let me get this right. The cancer's saving my life right now? I'm like, it might be prolonging your life. I'm like, okay. So there's nothing we can do with this? And they're like, no, there's nothing. This is all maintenance. It's been in maintenance now since October of 21 when they came to me and said, hey, we're going to put you on palliative and hospice care. And I was like, wait a second. October 21, they come to me and said, okay, pain control, hospice care, what is well, hospice covers a lot of different things. People think hospice is you go home to die. It's really a lot of different things. It's mental, health. It's pain management. It's a lot of things that they do. The final hospice care is the thing that we go home and we're with our families, whatever, until that final time. So here it is now, March, and I'm continuing doing my chemo for my daughter, thinking that this is going to help. July is coming pretty rapidly now, and I'm doing the best I can. Beginning of July, I'm sick, really, really sick. I'm at home with Angela, a significant other, and I'm burning up. Now, what's funny about my body is I get a little chill at 99.3 to 100.5. I get chills. Beyond that, I just get warm. Like I'll stop chilling at 100.5 and I just get warm. So I'm sitting on the couch. Angela's like, you feel warm to the touch. Like, you really feel warm to the touch. So she grabs the thermostat, the thermometer that's beside the couch, and she hits my head and she's like, baby, you have 106.5 temperature. I go, babe, it's nothing. Give me a cold compress. I'll be all right. She's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, no, babe, I was fine. I'm just a little hot, okay? I had a blanket on me. And she's like, so I took the blanket off, 106.5 temperature. She's calling my sister, who's an oncology nurse for the VA down in Florida, getting my sister on the phone and doing, he's an idiot. He's got 106.5 temperature. He will not go to the hospital. He can barely stand. I'm weak as heck, right? Angela says, please get up, because I don't think I can carry you. So I finally decide, okay, I'm going to go. I go to the hospital. Immediately, they're like rushing me in, like, sir. Come to find out, I had 13 different bacterial infections going on in my liver. My body had gone septic. Okay, I had inclusions in my stents. Okay, so I was blocked, and things were not looking good. Matter of fact, they told Angela that I had a 24% chance of getting out of the hospital, that I was probably going to die there. And so Angela tells me what they say. And I said, okay. I said, it is what it is, right? Here it is, July 22, exactly what they predicted. I'm going to be gone. Right. So I had a long call with God. I had a long talk that night with God. I said, look, man, God, I have a lot of things left to do. Charity, some things that I wanted to do. I said, you either got to get to taking me or get me out of here, because I got things to do. 4 days later, I came out of that. Came back out of it. Started feeling better. And a week later, I was out in the hospital. And I sat down with my oncology team and I said, chemo. And they said, yeah, it's maintenance. I go, no, Not anymore. We're done with that maintenance.